Hello everyone, welcome to my class. This is from St. Joseph PU College, Vijaypur. So today we are going to deal with second chapter from part A, Theory of Consumer Behavior. So in this chapter, what are the concepts you will learn? So that we can discuss here. In this chapter, we'll study the behavior of an individual consumer in a market for final goods. That means here in this lesson, we came to know about individual behavior for the consumption of a final goods. Observe the people shopping in a market. All consumers do not buy the same goods and in the same quantity, because every individual's behavior will be different. And why this is every individual's behavior will be changed? Because consumers make hundreds of decisions every day. What guides these individual consumer decisions? Why do the consumers purchase some commodities and not others? How do they decide how much to purchase of each commodity? What is the aim of rational consumers in spending their income? So all this, what the behavior will be discussed in this chapter. And also the theory of consumer behavior, which studies how consumers spend their income because to attain maximum satisfaction or utility. That means with limited income and prevailing prices of goods and services, how the consumer will react to buy the goods and services, or how much he is able to pay, or what is the purchasing power of an individual, so that all these things can be discussed through the consumer behavior. The principal assumption upon which the theory of consumer behavior and demand is built, a consumer attempts to allocate his or her limited money income among available goods and services so as to maximize his or her satisfaction or the utility. That means by his level of income and also by the prevailed price of a particular goods and services, along with this his satisfaction level or his utility level either increased or decreased. That means here it deals with that every individuals with their limited income and the prevailed prices, so how much they can able to buy the goods and services, so that will be assumed in the theory of consumer behavior. Any combination of the amount of two goods will be called as a consumption bundle, or in short a bundle. That means here I said already, with the income, with the limited income and also with prevailed market prices. So in that income as well as the prices, if the consumer is able to buying the goods and services, so any amount of that two goods, so that will call consumption bundle or a bundle or the bundle of goods. And in general we shall use the variables like x1 to denote the amount of goods 1 and x2, so that is denote the amount of goods 2. So that x1 is goods 1 as well as x2 is goods 2. So these are the two variables we can use, that is for discussing the commodities. And also x1 and x2 can be positive or 0, and also x1 x2 would mean the bundle consisting of x1 amount of goods 1 and x2 amount of goods 2. That means what? Two variables x1 and x2. Okay, so these are the two different goods, means x1 is a goods 1, x2 is goods 2. Take for example, goods 1 is apple, goods 2 is banana. Yes, now these two goods are also different. Apple and banana both are different goods. Yes, now the consumer, he is willing to buy these two goods also, that is with his limited income and the prevailed market price. So now we can call these two goods also bundle or bundle of goods. Okay, so that x1 of goods 1, x2 of goods 2 would mean the bundle consisting of, that is x1 amount of goods 1 and x2 amount of goods 2. So this is what called as consumption of bundle or the consumption bundle. For particular values of x1 and x2, so would give us a particular bundle. That means x1 separately we can get, that is goods 1 commodity, and x2 bundle, so we can get goods 2 commodity. That means either x1 is for apple, apple is separate commodity, and x2 is banana, so this is another one commodity. So we can get two different commodities for the satisfaction of a what? For the satisfaction of a commodity. So that is called as consumption bundle, or in short bundle. And one more example we can see here, the bundle like 5, 10. See, here consists of 5 units of goods 1 and 10 units of goods 2. Then the bundle will be 10, 5, that means which consists of 10 unit of goods 1 and 5 unit of goods 2. That means similarly we can observe that two goods, that means 5 unit of one goods means goods 1. Next 10 unit of another goods means goods 2. Like that, similarly what the 10 units of goods 1 and 5 unit of goods 2. Okay, so that means what? This is called as a bundle of a commodity. As I already given that one more example, apple and banana. Yes, apple and banana. So that 5 unit of apple, 10 units of banana. Or 10 unit of apple, 5 unit of banana. Okay, so that goods 1 and goods 2. So these two goods are also different goods. So that different goods we can say that consumption bundle, and we can get the satisfaction in a differently by these two goods. Okay, so this is what the principal assumption of the theory of consumer behavior. That means with the limited income and with the market price, so here if the consumer is able to buying the goods and services, that behavior, that rational thinking actions, so that is called as the consumer behavior. Okay. Then now let me see what are the theories of consumer behavior. So there are mainly two theories which explain consumer behavior. One is utility theory, another one is indifference preference theory. So utility theory we can also called as cardinal approach, and indifference theory we can say that ordinal approach. So these are the two theories which helps to discuss regarding the consumer behavior. Now we'll discuss about in detail regarding the utility theory. The eminent economists like Jevons, Walras and Menger, So these three economists developed the theory of utility. The utility analysis during the 19th century, these three economists, Jevons, Walras and Menger, they developed, but the real credit goes for its present development, that is to Alfred Marshall as well as A.C. Pigou. So these two people, Alfred Marshall as well as the A.C. Pigou, so for them the real credit goes because to what present development of this theory. And before going to this utility theory, we'll discuss then what is the meaning of utility. So utility is nothing but it is a want satisfying power of a commodity or a service. So utility means it is the want satisfying power of a commodity or a service. That means it is a capacity or it is the power, want satisfying power. That means whatever the commodity, in that commodity how much you get satisfaction or how you get the satisfaction, that power is called as want satisfying power or utility. And also the utility can be measured, that is in terms of utils. Take for example water, so we can measure, that is by the way of liters. Or take for example rice, wheat, so that we can measure with the help of kgs. So like that only utility we can measure, that is with the help of utils. Okay, so that students remember, so utility is nothing but want satisfying power or capacity of a commodity or a service, and it will be measured with the help of utils. We consume goods and services for the satisfaction of our wants. So every individual consume the goods and services because to satisfy their wants. Take for example, if you want to buy, if you want to purchase clothes, why? Because to satisfy your desire. Or if you want to buy sandals, that is also specially what shoes or branded shoes, Puma or Woodlands, why? Because to satisfy your desire, right? So that every individual, they consume goods and services only because of their satisfaction. It means goods and services have the capacity or power to satisfy our wants or serve a human purpose. So any kind of commodity, any kind of goods and services, so it should have its own power or capacity to satisfy the human wants. Anything that satisfies human wants possess utility. That is why we use food, cloth, pen, paper, watch and so on. There is number of goods and services are there. So whatever goods, take for example, some likes watches in different brands, some likes different varieties of food, and some likes like clothes, right? So that individual demand or individual desires will be different, and also individual satisfaction level also different. So which will provide its own capacity or its own power of satisfaction. So that is only want satisfying power of a commodity. So now we'll discuss about the features of utility as well as the difference between utility and satisfaction. First feature, utility is a expected satisfaction. If you know about this feature, you must and should know the difference between utility and satisfaction. The term utility should be differentiated from satisfaction. Both are differentiated. A consumer gets satisfaction only after consumption, whereas utility is the calculation of want satisfying power of a particular commodity before consumption. That means utility is refers to expected satisfaction, whereas satisfaction denotes realized satisfaction. Take for example, if you consumed a first commodity for the first time, that is not a realized satisfaction. That is what? Utility. Why? Because you are expected. That means you are not realized yet. Okay? When you consumed that commodity for the first time, and afterwards you will realize whether that good one or not. Yes? So then only we can came to know that whether that product is good or not, whether that product is tasty or not, whether that food is tasty or not, like that. So that utility is always be expected satisfaction, but the satisfaction is already, means you know that already it is realized satisfaction. So this is what the difference between utility and satisfaction. Second feature, utility should not be confused with usefulness. That means a commodity may satisfy a human want. That we know that a commodity have power to satisfy the human want, but may not be useful. But we cannot say that always be the commodity is useful to individual. That means it may be harmful or injurious. Smokers, so like that only. Yes, that means utility should not be confused with the usefulness. So it will give the satisfaction, but we cannot expect always be it is what benefit to the human life. It is sometimes harmful or injurious. Third one, it does not speak anything about morality. That means the concept of utility, so which is not leads to the moral aspects, and it is ethically neutral. And next feature, utility is a subjective concept. That means the consumer knows, that means the consumers knows it by introspection. That means the consumer knows it by introspection, and it depends on his thinking, and it varies from individual to individual at different times and at different places. That means utility, it will be differ from one individual to another one, or it is different from one place to another place. So that we cannot say that always be utility will be similar to every individual. So it may change, or it may be depending upon the thinking of the individual. So that's why utility is a subjective concept. So these are all the features of a utility. So you just revise all these things. So you just revise all these things. You learn about the utility concepts. So in the next episode, we'll discuss about approaches. In the next episode, we'll discuss about the two approaches of consumer behavior. Okay. Thank you.